television commercial when Kitchener was running through the cemetery and these different zombies was interfering with him. And he was as a young boy watching that left a massive imprint on my mind. Right? So I actually found the commercial while I was making the film and was watching how the storyboard in my head was actually lining up with this entire process. So for me it was like I was subconsciously remaking something that made a big impact on me. And it's not like I realized after the film was made, I realized it during. So I used the commercial to inspire and to also, in a way, retell that story in a different type of way. So the story is as original as any story in the world, but I felt like I was kind of paying some small type of homage to that particular story, because when I look at that ad now, as a big man, you watch back that ad now, and it still looks good.
Yes.
Correct.
It still looks, so it's telling me, like, as we get older, we think we have nicer cameras and we better than who was doing it in the 70s and whatever. But them fellas know they was doing back then. So I watch a lot of films in the 70s now, I would not have watched those things before, but those films follow the rules of filmmaking. So long story short, yes, Kitchener inspired.
Alright, so we got some questions on the back. We got children gonna make a contribution. Yeah?
Congratulations, Keegan.
Thank you.
A wonderful retelling of Kitchener's Love in the Cemetery, right? A really iconic tune. And as you said, that ad really brought it to life for us back in the day. I don't have on my spectacles tonight, so I was a bit of a disadvantage and I kind of missed the beginning. So I didn't know if, because when I realized that story I'm seeing, I wondered if it was told, did I miss a romantic setup in the beginning? Right, because we knew the whole story. So that's more than a little inspiration. That's like a true tell. So did I miss it, or did you make some mention in your credits of Kitch also related? There were some sections where there was just text, and I really, unfortunately, I didn't all of that. I wonder if a voiceover perhaps. And please include in your credits at some point Kitchener's Love in Cemetery and previous too.
Right. So thank you for your comments. The idea of the text on the screen is it don't need to have voiceover, because it's supposed to be read like you're reading the text. So so you don't want to have a voiceover for that.
Right.
But I do hear you. So, but if you're able to follow what is being said, it gives you another level of the story. Right? Yeah, because as you said, there is a love interest. There was a boyfriend, but his girlfriend, they started off at the beginning of the film, and she said she would take a shortcut. Now, if you're from San Fernando, like, you would take a route walking through that cemetery, because since we're small, or anybody in San Fernando's passed through that cemetery. Actually, right there is St. Gabriel's Girls' School.
Yeah.
So, when you're in San Fernando and you're a child, the relationship between walking through cemetery and things is different.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to tell that particular story. Funny story with that story is, when you're going to do a film, you have to have the right people on your team.
Correct.
So that night, I called my cousin who is in the police service, and I said, Swain, I feel a way to come on the shot with me, because we're going to the cemetery and I feel it could be problematic. And that scene where the guy was running down the hill and he went onto the gate, around that time it was 11 o'clock in the night, and 2 police jeeps swing down. Hey, Rasta, line up. Line up. But I wasn't me myself on the actual star. I was in the back with the camera quite down, because you see that the long scene.
Yeah.
But my cousin, let's use the word, they say, hey, batch. Or they know when I say batch.
Yeah.
That is the day, right? It's you. Tick, tick, tick. La, la, la. So, this film almost didn't get finished made because you have to have certain permissions and things apparently. I know this now. But that's why I said a lot of risks were taken in the making of this film. I hear you on the credits thing. I never thought to do it like that simply because, right? But even I would ask you, or we can talk after, like how to frame that.
Like inspired by or something.
Yeah, like inspired by is good, right?
Yes.
Yeah, inspired by, because I can't say based on, because that's not the story either. As I said,
It's just.
I appreciate you on that, yeah. But what the inspired by does, it gives people a reference to go back to that too.
Yes.
And to continue that story, because if I had the time and the budget, I'd actually do it over. Because again, it wasn't like, what stops you from making films sometimes is when you start making a lot of films and you end up a lot of productions, is tell yourself, I need to raise my level, I need to have this camera, I need to have this amount of money and this crew. But back then it was just 3 of us and the crew. And we did something that now I'm fighting to get back the energy to do because I need $50,000, I need that camera. So I look back at these films and I'm grateful to how you all appreciate it, because sometimes it's just to get up and make the story you want to make.
You don't need to make it over.
Yeah,
You don't need to make it over. You don't need to make it over.
Okay, I just want to say one thing before we go to the, well, maybe a few things. What I was completely impressed by is how much you made the environment dictate certain movements
Yes.
in the film.
Correct.
You see that shot with the guy walking up the little hill with all these street lights and stuff?
Yes.
That had to be something you just catch.
Yes. It's true.
If it was in Hollywood, because I think I saw some back shots of background of the guy when they did that comedian guy who did that film with the horses and stuff, right? Yeah, the comedian guy.
Comedian horses.
Yeah, the black horse. Anyway, with the space thing. Anyway, what the point is that when they do the background and to get that shot, is that this like 20, 50 foot screen and stuff just to get the lighting right. And you got the lighting right because you was hungry and you had a proper cemetery and you really thought it was Happy Rose.
I too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And I like how you made the set kind of like the star. I think that was really amazing. Yeah, you need to continue with that, I feel. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
So watching it here with you all, because with all here, and I know that some of these set pieces, like, you get to see how iconic that cemetery is built.
Right.
So
Yes.
the statues, some of the pillars,
Yes.
right? When the guy opened the gate, that's like somebody's tomb that we borrow. And the guy went in and he opened the gate and he stepped out. Also, when you stand in that cemetery in the night, it's fully dark. They have it's well maintained, so they have 1 or 2 street lights within it. But most of the light is coming from around the city.
Yeah.
So, a far off distance, you would see those street lights giving the place texture, so that you had the blue light and you had a green light. So when we shot the environment, we kind of knew some of these things were looking good now.
Yeah.
That green and blue gives that airy vibe.
Yes.
So yeah, and then we didn't use any subject lighting. The lighting was coming from the street light. So that gave a kind of, so we shot at angles where we could get a little bit of the light on the face, but we can't make it too fully bright because we want it to feel like you're walking through the cemetery still.
Yes. Which is a good job.
So thanks for
Brilliant.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I close my eyes for the majority of the thing. Because I know if I look at that, I am sleeping tonight. But in any case, even though I place my fingers in my ear, I was still hearing, some stuff. But I would like to know if this is the only place that this have been viewed, because I know like Movitown and they usually have like local, at some period in time through the year, they have local productions. Have you been able to expose the public?
So yes, I've done a few film festivals, and this film went through Transylvania Film Festival 2023.
Okay.
So it had a nice run in there, as well as